Thank you everybody for being here. It's a great pleasure for me for this partnership with Katie and Alex. And let's start. Let's start straight away. So who's this for? This webinar is super important for aspiring fashion entrepreneur, strongly committed to realize their dream by building a successful brand. Fashion students or emerging designers who are planning to build a valuable and solid business for their future. Entrepreneurs with innovative ideas and concepts that need help with technical aspects. Existing brands that want to move or improve their production to Italy. Small brands that need help finding or work with artisans that accepts low MOQs. So that's what we do, and that's how I founded this company, to help international brands and designers to produce in Italy, but easily. So that's why we want to make in Italy in an easy way, made easy. What you see in this webinar is why Italian Artisan is born, what it means made in Italy production, and how we support brands in their made in Italy production journey. We're gonna go through a couple of success stories and a Q&A session at the end. So what's made in Italy production? Most of the time when we think about made in Italy, we talk about the quality. It's premium luxury quality. Most of the luxury world has been produced in Italy and is still being produced for bigger brands. So what we've seen is that there were a lot of artisans that were producing for premium luxury brands that needed the help to connect with international designers. But most of the time they have a great quality, the great allure on how to do the product. Because of their craftsmanship, when we go to Italy, we see that there is a lot of a tradition on the craftsmanship of making products. Most of the time, you probably find products all around, and you enter the shop, you enter the retail, you buy online, and you don't recognize that there is a good quality. That's probably not made in Italy. So the craftsmanship is something that really makes the product unique, and it really creates a valuable asset when you wear it. And that comes by the artisanal heritage. So most of the time, we've seen that there are communities of manufacturers, and local manufacturers collaborate with each other since many generations. So it's super important that the heritage that has been passed by throughout all these generations is the one that we really wanted to give access to the rest of the world in an easy way. The artisanal approach is not the industrial approach. Most of the time we see the difference when there are some changes among the path, and we're gonna see in a while, there are some aspects that we really want to focus on when we produce or develop our products or our collection. But it's super important that the artisanal heritage is something that we bring among all the processes when we go to Italy for our production. So it's super important, super cool. It's made in Italy, high quality, heritage, but there are some problems that can arise when you come to Italy. So sometimes can be difficult. And I'll tell you why. The fragmentation of the supply chain of more than 65,000 small and micro businesses in Italy is very fragmented. And there is a lot of people, a lot of communities, a lot of family businesses that have low internal organization. And this is made in a very distributed way among all of Italy. There is super high intermediation costs because of this problem. So when you talk to intermediaries, when you go to some agencies, you really pay the cost for organizing and not going to really lose quality on the production or encounter any problems. And one really important thing is that the digitalization process is really low. So most of these companies do not have digital approach in their companies, do not have people dedicated to the digital world. So it's really hard to connect with them if you're not there. It's really hard to connect with them within the internet aspect. And sometimes it can look like this, the collaboration between a buyer, designer, or a brand, and the artisan. So it's a matter of a really chaotic approach, banks, emails, times, And when you go to the fair, you lose time. And when you move to Italy, you probably don't find the manufacturer because most of the time they're really small in small towns and they're really hard to find. So it's a matter of infinite calls and email and try back and forward in order to optimize your collection. So if you're an aspiring fashion entrepreneur, you have two options to produce in Italy. The first one is the traditional journey, which take high investments and high risks. And it would take maybe years to go to market. And I assure you that we've seen a lot. Or the Italian artisan journey that cut the investment, so it lowered the investment and especially lowered the risks. And it takes a few weeks to market. So just to give you an idea, what about the traditional journey? It might cost to develop a collection among 30,000 euros in an average time of 12 months. With Italian artisan journey, we definitely cut the price, but especially the time, which is super important when you're a young designer, where you need to go to the market, where you don't need to wait too much time and too many mistakes, but especially you don't have a lot of money. So it's super important that you advance the thoughts on what is needed and you prepare to not make those mistakes. So time and money are super important at the beginning. So let's answer on how should I work with an Italian manufacturer. First of all, you have to look for a long-term partnership. As I told you at the beginning, most of them are working with luxury brands. So when they open doors to young designers or emerging brands, they really want to see what's your vision. They really want to connect with you as a person. It's a matter of human touch. It's a matter of human contact most of the time. Second thing is a matter of having a clear paperwork. So the most time you have to be clear with them on your request, on your technical expectation as well. Payments for prototype in Italy are made all up front because they cost. And when you prototype something, you get access to their expertise, to their heritage, to their manufacturing knowledge. So it's super important that in Italy, you cannot ask to make the payment after you see the prototype. And payments for production are usually 30–40% on pre-production, so before starting production, and 70 to 60% on the pre-shipping, so before the goods are leaving the factory. So let's answer to the second question, which is how should I prepare before connecting with an Italian manufacturer? There are three main phases in production processes. One is pre-sampling, the second one is sampling phase, and the third one is the production phase. So let's have a look on the pre-sampling. So most of the time we have to design with production in mind. I've seen so many designs that are crazy, that are really cool, but they're unproducible. So it's super important when we go to manufacturer, there's something needs to be produced. And we take into consideration as well their expertise on how we can make these products come to life. Second aspect is have everything ready on your side on the pre-sampling area. So most of the time we do not finalize tech design before starting the prototype, and this is a very bad idea. So it's super important that you complete your tech designs before going to the sampling phase. Another aspect is super important to set timing for prototype and sampling production. So the timing is super important for you as a startup, as an emerging designer, as a brand, in order to accomplish your goals, in order to go out at the right moment of the season. So it's super important that when you present yourself, you have a clear idea of what's your timing for prototype and sampling. So make a calendar for production. Start to understand which is the right timing, not only for prototype and sampling, but for the right timing when you want to go out to the market. As you know, there are different types of seasons, there are different types of way of going to the market, there are different approaches on how to go to market and how to sell your product. But it's super important that you start in this phase to analyze and understand how you want to go to the market and when especially. So finalize styles and quantities that you think you're going to produce, price range, and season collections. And of course, you have to understand which are the materials you want to use. So you start sourcing raw materials, you start to understand which are the real accessories or the real materials that you want to add to your products and collection. And this is the phase. And after we go to the sampling phase, which is a prototype and sampling phase. So it's super important that you go over your product details and you conclude your tech packs when you want to produce your prototype, but as well, you need to coordinate with the manufacturer and understand which are the final samples, characteristics that you want to confirm in order to go to production. So another important point is to understand which are the services, which is the support the manufacturer needs to give you on that. Do they need to fulfill some of your requests on design, on tech pack, or do they have just a sample that you already made and they can start on creating a final sample, which is the sample that goes before production? So it's super important in this phase that you secure a producer with vertical category specialization, which is super important for you because they're gonna develop what you have in mind. And if they're gonna develop that type of products, it needs to be a dream product. So they need to have a vertical specialization on that category. Let's see which are the common mistakes when we go into production. First of all, there are some don'ts that are really painful most of the time. Not testing a prototype before production. What it means testing? It means trying the prototype. It means stressing the prototype. It means trying to understand what is a final prototype that can be produced for many times. So it's not a matter of just having a product, it's a matter of giving the manufacturer the finalization of that product in order to go to repeat that production. Having clear idea, not having clear idea before starting the first prototype. So it's super important when we go to the manufacturer that we have a clear idea. They're not us as entrepreneurs. They're not us as fashion designers or brand owners. They are producers, they are manufacturers. So they know what's about the production, which is super important for us. But at the same time, we need to go in a very clear idea. We need to go to them with a very specific and clear idea on what we want them to produce. The third point is super important, and our team is always pushing on do not constantly modify the prototype due to aesthetic aspects. So you have to make sure your idea is clear at the beginning and understand how you want the design to be. Because most of the time, we see designers that just go with the semi-final design, with the semi-final spec sheet, with the semi-final idea, and they start to change the idea with the manufacturer. And this creates back and forward that might lead to have high finances due to the prototyping phase and spend a lot of money and time. So not having your calendar and materials ready and finalized ahead of time is super important as well. As you know, manufacturers need to produce and manufacture and craft your product. If they do not have the materials, if they do not have the accessories, how can they make it? And the fifth point is super important for us because we've learned as well on how to approach the manufacturer, which are people that are working and doing this job for centuries. So being paranoid and stressed and rude is not the best idea. And we always have to think that the manufacturers not only have years of experiences, but they have the knowledge that we can acquire when we go to them. So it's super important when we enter, when we connect a manufacturing side that will respect what we find on their side. And the sixth point is to avoid to identify Made in Italy manufacturer as a supplier. As I said, we have to think as a partner, as a production partner. They are the back end of our front end. So it's super important that when we realize that we go to sales and marketing, we need to have right products with us. So we definitely help worldwide fashion entrepreneurs to produce efficiently, cut costs and times, cut intermediaries, and cut painful headaches. So we do it with three pillars, which are super important for us. The community of manufacturers, of course, the platform, and our team, which has a huge expertise on technical aspects and production. So the Made in Italy community. On our platform, there are more than 700 manufacturers, more than 1% of the total Italian market of fashion manufacturers. They are verified manufacturers. We know what they do. We know which are their services. We know how they work and how they worked before. So we cover all the fashion categories. And we cover the fashion categories in all districts in Italy, which is super important. There are more than 54 districts in Italy where they are specialized in different type of categories. The second aspect is the platform. So we really want to make Made in Italy in a very easy approach. So Made in Italy in 3 easy steps. The first one is that you upload your design, or you choose the design that the manufacturer proposed from the catalog. By using the platform, the manufacturer receives the proposal, they make you their real proposal, and you start negotiate commercial terms directly with the manufacturers, which is super important to better understand how you can go for with the one manufacturer you're gonna choose. And the third step is that you start produce your collection. So entering the project area to start the production process, you can have a transparent and a very safe approach inside of the platform. So everything is traced, everything is transparent, and it's super important between the two, as a brand, as a buyer, as a client of the manufacturer, and on the other side, the manufacturer needs to trust you. So we created a platform that really can help both parties in order to enhance the collaboration and the trust among parties. So just to recap, what we have inside of the platform is not only vetted manufacturers, we have saved transactions. And these are a key point. The point of payments with manufacturers and new clients. So when you have safe transaction, when you have transparent approach, you can have less headaches. And the easy shipping. So another painful approach and another painful problem most of the time is the logistics. So we help inside of the platform on the project area to accelerate the shipping processes and lower the risks of failing on the shipping side. Expertise. So it's super important for us that we learn the best practices, that we learn on how not only to grow as a platform, but as well helping international entrepreneurs and brands to develop their collection. By working with more than 10,000 international brands from 32 countries, we develop certified services to help brands to accelerate their development and production in Italy, which is super important that we use certified services and best practices. So we guide brands during the production cycle in Italy in all different areas, from the design, the tech designs, the raw material sourcing, the manufacturer scouting, the prototype and sampling making, production, quality control, and of course, the incoming as well to Italy. Because when you come to Italy, it's always an experience. It's not just having your production done, it's about going through different districts, understand which are the territories of the manufacturers, and living a Made in Italy, not only production, but a Made in Italy experience. So as you can see, we guide throughout all the different processes at a very accessible prices and services, because we really want to help international brands, international fashion entrepreneurs to develop their collection and their brands to build a sustainable business among the time. So our expertise and our team of technical and product experts help you on the different areas of your business. And you don't need to have a technical co-founder when you have an Italian artisan team that can help you throughout all the different processes. By doing so, we realized that we really want to accelerate a process for brands. We really wanted to understand that there could be a part of the team that needs to be outsourced sometimes. We understood that if we were working really close with the designer and the entrepreneurs, we could really accelerate the process on one side, but do not waste a lot of time and money on different back and forward that can cause the collaboration with the first manufacturers. So we created our combo professional packages. As we could see, the startup is the one that helps us to create the first step and to go on sampling phase. And we help not only on the different type of aspects on the technical approach, but on the other side, on planning in a proper way as a businessman, as a fashion entrepreneur. You create your own business. You start to plan what's needed and how you're gonna need. And that's our team that can help you on that. And the second step is sampling and prototype. So it's not only creating the first prototype and samples, it's about being there. So thanks to our team of product managers, who are technical product managers, we can be on a site, we can be on sites, we can be locally present for international brands that are coming from all different parts of the world, and we can be there with the technical know-how, with the local expertise on manufacturing. And of course, with the production. So one of the most important things is that to follow the production, you need to be there as a quality controller. You need to be there to understand how to supervise and how to work with this manufacturer and create a valuable approach up to the shipping, up to your sales in a continuous way. Because most of the time, it's not just going to the market, it's about being there, being to the market for a continuous time, which is super important. And that's our added value on that. So I just want to introduce you Daniela. Daniela, she studied at the London College of Fashion and she worked in New York City. And at some point, she realized that she really wanted to create an inclusive luxury brand. And that's how we met at the beginning with Daniela. So we introduced Daniela to Fabiola and we understood and walked with her throughout all the technical processes and how to structure her brand. So she came to Italy at the end and she started to produce not only the beginning of her collection. So she developed at the beginning, the first collection, the startup collection, but right now we're growing with her as a partner. And the manufacturer is helping her not only to deliver a shoe, is helping to deliver a luxury premium shoe made in Italy. So we work with more than 10,000 brands from 32 different countries that already have chosen us. I'm actually asking if you want to come on board and are you the next? So thank you for your attention and I'm going to open the question and answer session.
Okay, thank you very much, David. The first question we have is, what's the average time for sampling and production?
So most of the time we can start from 4 weeks to 8 weeks for sampling. And for production, it depends on how many quantities. So I would say that most of the time can go as well from 4 weeks to 8 weeks as well. But it depends on which type of products, of course, on which type of design you want to create and which are the characteristics of your collection. So that's why our team is most of the time really preparing the brands at the beginning in order to create a valuable path, a valuable calendar for these activities.
Thank you. Do we need to provide materials or can we source from producer?
Well, there are some producers that can source the materials for you, some others that don't. But don't worry about that because our team can help you on sourcing for you. So we have a dedicated services and staff in order to raw material sourcing for the brands we're collaborating with.
Okay. And can we do a low MOQ?
Of course, we always say that artisan and craftsmanship is a no MOQ manufacturing approach, but yes, definitely. So we see difference between among the different categories. There are low MOQs on one side for that starts from 10 pieces and they can go up, but most of the time this is not an issue to start your Made in Italy journey.
Okay. And then we have sustainability is really important now. How do you manage to have sustainable productions and how you guarantee it?
So first of all, there are two different aspects of sustainability. The first one is that when we talk about artisanal approach, artisanal manufacturing, we are already sustainable on that type of side because there are family businesses that collaborate at 0 kilometers from one to each other. and they collaborate in a very familiar supply chain. So there are not any emissions on how they collaborate, there are not any very problems on how they can impact the ecosystem. On the other side, there are, of course, all the certification and the vetting that we do with the manufacturer. So we can definitely help on that throughout the platform to find the best sustainability approach that you want to have for your brand.
Okay. Shani is saying, thank you so much for all the exciting information. I was wondering if there are manufacturers specialized in metal.
Sure they are. But I'd love to hear more about this question, because there are some manufacturers that can create products with metal, or there are jewelry manufacturers that can use metal, or there are manufacturers, for example, of shoes that can use like metal parts in order to create the heels, just to make an example. Okay. I hope I answered. Just let us know if there is a deeper question on that.
How do you deal with traceability?
So basically, traceability for us is a matter of transparency. So first of all, we know that the manufacturer have their own site manufacturing buildings on one side, and we know what they're doing inside of those buildings. So most of the activities are done in a vetting process at the beginning when they start to collaborate with us as manufacturing partners. The second step is about transparency on the collaboration, because we really want to connect not only the manufacturer to a buyer or to a client, but we want to create a partnership, which is making a transparent relationship. So how we deal with that throughout the platform, throughout, first of all, our project management tool that you can find inside of the platform, and second of all, with the transparent approach among the parties. So the most of the time, these are the two keys. We don't use like any traceability devices such as blockchain yet. We don't use something that can really impact the ecosystem, while we use an approach that can create a transparent collaboration, a transparent process among the parties.
Okay, then they're asking if we are only fashion, or which categories they can actually produce.
Okay, so we started with fashion, and we're actually enlarging to homeware and petswear. So we're actually expanding on the lifestyle of Made in Italy manufacturing.
Then I have another part for the metal question. I'm inquiring about handbags created entirely out of metal, electroplated, polished, and so on. Similar construction to Judith Leiber Audiers. Okay, so my suggestion is to book a call with us. So follow the link that is going to be shared after this meeting in order to connect with our team and explore which are your needs. They're going to be technicals that can really answer your questions in a very deeper way than I cannot answer you right now, because I'm not that technical on those aspects. So I'm sure they're going to help you on that. Shania says, okay, great. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Is there a way that we can come and meet the Italian Artisan team in person and discuss about the production process in detail? Sure. We have our headquarters in Milan. So basically, you can connect with us, and of course, we can organize a meeting with you. Thank you. Do you have any other questions? We don't have. Okay. Here we have. Can you also help with the design process? Yeah, sure, we can. Definitely, we can. So basically, when you need to design a product, when you have an idea, we help you to realize that idea to put it on paper. And one of the most important things that we developed during the years is just, as I was saying before, is about not only designing a product, is design with production in mind. So most of the time we anticipate the problems that designs can have on the production approach. As young designers, IP and design rights are very important to me personally, says Shania. I wanted to ask you if you can speak a bit more about design rights, confidentiality agreements, and so on.
Well, most of the time we suggest to the designer to prepare on that. So of course, some of the manufacturers can sign NDAs depending on the type of product. So of course, there is an approach from their side to do not share your ideas and to protect your designs, because they've been working for years with the luxury brands and luxury companies. So they're prepared to really take into consideration a disclosure approach.
And then going back to the categories, we have questions about if we can produce jewelry or to start my perfume brand.
Can you please repeat, Camila? I just
It's asking if we can produce also jewelry. And another question always about categories is, I want to start my perfume brand. Can you help me?
I think so, that our team, I just want to answer as I answered before. Definitely we can find a solution on that. We really are deep into the manufacturing on the lifestyle goods. So our team can definitely help you to realize your dream collection on those categories.
Okay. Can Italian Artisan help also with business plans, investments?
We do have like a consultancy area, so we can help on growing your business mindset, but it's a one-to-one approach and it's a very consultancy activity that we do focused on the growth of the fashion entrepreneurs. So the answer is yes, depending on the type of entrepreneurs and type of products and project that you want to create.
Do you offer your platform to brands as a way to connect with producers directly for brands that are looking to expand their networks of producers?
Sure, we do. Basically, the platform is born for that reason. We suggest to use the platform, the producer use the platform for a matter of safety and transparency. So it's a matter of coordinating as well the activities on one side and helping to connect not only with new manufacturers, but to create a valuable and strong, trusted relationship.
And do you currently have partnerships with universities or colleges to support graduates and young designers in their production?
Definitely, yes. I teach in some schools. I come as a visitor professor. And of course, this partnership with ARTSTHREAD is the one that we're really pushing right now in order to reach as much as possible students around the world to empower their creativity and empower their entrepreneurship on the creative side.
Okay. And on the producer side, is there a minimum about products that manufacturers have to produce in order to offer their service?
Can you please elaborate on that?
Okay, please.
So I believe I understood the question. So it's a matter of, in order to get access to the services, you don't need to have an MOQ at the beginning. So it's a matter of understanding which type of support you need as a technical expert, as a technical team that can support you among the sides in order to accelerate your developing and production process. But they're not really strictly connected. Super important is that you need to have a mindset of building a valuable brand that can start small and grow during the time in a sustainable way, which is super important, because when we connect international brands to manufacturers and when the connection can be a direct one, it's super important that they feel that there is a trustful partner that can start to produce for.
And then we have, will you hold my hand throughout the process?
That's what we do in Italy. So I suggest you to get a discovery call with our team that will definitely help you to create a valuable journey in Italy and accelerate your go-to-market startup.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? You can write them down in the Q&A section.
Super. If there are not any more questions, I just want to thank you all to being here. And it's been a great pleasure. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Katie. Thanks to all the Italian Artisan team that has been creating this amazing webinar. And we see you soon in Italy to make Made in Italy in an easier way.